What's happening, ladies? It's your girl, Tracie L. James. And you know what? I am back with yet another amazing woman entrepreneur. You know what, ladies? We are out here doing it, and we are doing it up right. And today I am excited to have an amazing woman who's running an amazing business here in Houston. That's right. You know, I always got to shout out my ladies right here in Houston. All right. So listen, as women, one of the things I know growing up, I was told was that your hair is your crown and glory. Well, let me tell you something. This entrepreneur has committed her life to helping women have that amazing crown and glory. And I'm talking about the one and only. That's right. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I know y'all know who I'm talking about because y'all pay attention to what's going on. I am talking about the one and only Takia Scott, CEO and founder of Sophisticated Images. And I can't wait for her to share her mission and the things that she is doing right now, right here in Houston. Thank you so much, Takia, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me.
Thank you for having me, Miss Tracie. I really, really appreciate it, sweetness.
You know, as I am moving around Houston, one of the things I end up doing, of course, is networking and meeting people. Exactly. And Takia and I met at the Houston Area Urban League and ran into each other again, probably about a year later. And we were at an event and we both were staring at each other going, I know her from somewhere.
I know you.
And it was bugging us both. And we finally were just talking to each other like, I know you from somewhere. I know you from somewhere. And we finally figured out that it was the Urban League. And I'm going to be honest, y'all. Look, I don't care what part of the country you're in. If you have an Urban League chapter there, honey, get connected.
Dig in.
Because it's some amazing resources, some amazing people to get connected to that will really help you up level. And I'm going to say that again, up level your business. Because sometimes folks be talking about going to the next level. And I don't know whether they talking about up or down. So in this space, we're talking about moving up. So Takia, every time I interview someone, I ask the exact same question. This is my favorite question. It's the number one question I ask. If I don't ever ask nobody nothing else, I'm going to ask them this question. And that question is, who are you and why do you do what you do?
Let's start with who am I? Of course, my name is Takia Scott. I am from Savannah, Georgia, originally. My story began at birth. My story began with hair loss. So when I say it began with hair loss, it literally began with hair loss because I was born with a condition where doctors thought my hair would never grow. And so as I grew up with a little bit of hair here and there, but never grew a full lock of hair. So my journey kind of began there. And then on to, I'd say about 8th, 9th, 10th grade, going into adolescent years, I ended up doing people hair. So it kind of took me into my journey now where I'm doing people who have hair replacement.
Okay, awesome. And, you know, one of the things I know that I dealt with for many years working with the American Cancer Society was cancer patients who lost their hair as a result of treatment. And being there in our offices and watching the look that comes across a woman's face when you provide them with a wig or you provide them with a scarf, if that's what they choose.
I get it. I and I'm not gonna stop you there. People say it's just a wig, but it's, when I tell you it's so much more, it's not just a wig, it's not just a scarf. It kind of give that person a dignity back.
Yeah. And I think that was one of the things that really got me about working specifically with breast cancer survivors, because I was responsible for that segment of the organization, and seeing these women, I mean survivors, I mean strong women
Mm-hmm.
And watching them go through their journeys, you know, it definitely helped me keep my life in perspective,
Uh-huh.
you
I
know,
can
you
I
know.
can understand that.
And oftentimes, you know how they say that your purpose is definitely connected to your journey and those things. And oftentimes you're led to help people where you had the issue. And so I see how your childhood led you to where you are today. So when did you birth sophisticated images?
Sophisticated Images has been birthed for over 15 years now, but diving into my purpose openly. I wouldn't say it's only been about maybe 5 years, because hair loss is nothing that you typically, outright say, you know what, I have hair loss. You typically don't say that. So it wasn't something that was always shared. You know what I mean?
Mhm. So, you know, how did you process this? Because I remember literally just how I reacted about bad hair days when I was in junior high school, because I was super self-conscious about my image. Um, how did you deal with that?
Actually, I'm gonna take it back to my mother. My mother was one of them get it together Black women from the South. So she nourished me. I never even knew I had hair loss, believe it or not, because she grew my hair out, and I do have hair, but it's not a full lock of hair. So she nourished my hair from as much as she could. But by the time I was in eighth grade, I had a teacher, Miss Reed. I would do her hair. She would come pick me up every Saturday, and I would do her hair. And plus, I had an older sister that was in the industry long before I was, so I always was around hair. But taking it back to my eighth grade teacher, she would come pick me up every Saturday, and she started saying, "You know what? It'd be good if you did hair. This just seemed real natural to you." And I said, "Well, yeah, I might think about that." Didn't know what I was gonna do. Of course, in eighth grade, you don't know what you're gonna do. But my journey kind of started in eighth grade, where the seed was planted from my teacher, my science teacher, and then it led on to till today, really.
Oh man, that's awesome. You know, I remember my grandmother telling me at 12 that I was going to be a teacher. And I was so adamantly against that
Uh,
whole idea, because in my mind, a teacher was an elementary teacher, a middle school teacher. I'm like, I'm not teaching school. I don't like kids like that. So, you know, it just wasn't one of those things I thought I would do. But ultimately, it's one of those things that naturally, innately, I was a teacher, even though
uh,
I didn't see it as that. So for you, naturally, innately, you had this thing about hair, and being able to turn that into a successful business for 15 years. That's
yeah.
not anything to, you know, sneeze at, so to speak, because typically when it comes down to small businesses, you know, the statistics they talk about, most don't make 3 years. Out of those that make 5 years won't make 10 years, you know. And so success rates are definitely difficult so to achieve. So what obstacles have you had to overcome to get to this point in your business?
Um, nowadays, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs trip up on this, you kind of wear the hats for everything. You wear the hats for the marketing, you wear the hats for the doing the services, customer service. You wear so many hats. So learning to wear so many different hats was new for me. And that's a journey that I done took from starting till today. Right now I'm learning technology. We on a call where a hairstylist don't typically deal with technology. So I had that was another learning curve. So it's always learning curves. So I just then found that get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable.
Oh yes, yes,
Get comfortable with it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I think oftentimes the journey of an entrepreneur has been glamorized. Okay.
I can see that.
Okay. You know, the whole concept of you work when you want to work, you can start late, you can take off when you want to take off, you can do all of these amazing things. Well, let me just, y'all know I'm gonna be
Squash
real,
that.
right? I'm gonna be
Squash that.
real. I'm gonna squash that dream. It's over, boo. No, it ain't like that. Because see,
Not at all.
my clients expect me to provide service the way I committed and that I'm contracted to provide their service, which means that
Exactly.
there are days I'm working that I don't necessarily want to work, but I know I need to provide the service for my client. And so while it's not a traditional job per se, um, it's still not one of those things where I'm just lollygagging around and then I put in a few hours of work and I'd have made a whole bunch of money. It requires time and effort to cultivate and build a business. Long before you ever get to that point where you've got a team of people running your business and you're able to oversee your business, so to speak.
And that's another obstacle that entrepreneurs run into now, is finding a good team of people who can sustain the journey, because you'll have they entrepreneurs, so they might get sidetracked and then you like, wait, you was doing good, and then they'll say, you know what, I'm not doing this no more. So it when I say, I want to say probably about at least, and you can disagree or agree with this, about 10 hats you're going to at least wear, at least 10, at
Yeah,
least.
at least. I mean, when you begin to really take a look at the different things that you have to do to
Hmm.
maintain your business, um, there are all those different things you have to do. There's administrative work, there's marketing, there's sales, there's providing the service or creating
Exactly.
the product if it's a product-based business. And now with all the new technologies, it's social media, it's websites, it's apps and automations and systems and process.
Exactly. The list goes on and on.
Right, right,
So,
right.
so
Absolutely.
every hat you didn't name, I didn't put on.
Yeah. And some days you feel like you have all of them on at the same time.
Exactly.
You don't have a clue which way you're going.
Exactly. For me, I have to write down in increments, kind of like it helps me to divide everything up, is writing down in detail. I call it my business vision tree. Like some people have a vision board, a
Mhm.
business vision tree, and then you can write in details as to where you want to take your business. That tremendously helped me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you don't have a clear vision of where you're going, how do you know when you make it? And
Exactly.
when people get there and say, "Well, I don't have a plan. I don't have a business plan." And I get it. You may not have that traditional 51-page business plan. Okay. You may not have that, but you at least need a vision for where you see your business 3, 5, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And, do you want to continue working until you can't work and then let the business go? Do you want to build a business that you can sell? Figuring those things out is very, very important. I know that's one of the main things that I remember learning from Small Business University
Oh,
was, the whole concept of planning with thinking about the end in mind, from
that's
that
how, I
perspective.
think that was our first lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was. And I think oftentimes people don't really take the time to allow themselves to dream. I
Oh,
see it as that. Sometimes you get so busy wearing all the different hats, you don't dream.
you're right.
So, what's Takia's dream?
Okay. I dream in color, as people say. So if I had to nickel down what my vision for my business is, it's not a dream, because I feel like dreams become reality. So if you can dream it, you can do it. So that's just my theory on every aspect of life, really. So I would say taking my business from not just doing fashion hair, but doing people who especially need my services and being able to take the cost away from them with taking their insurance instead of being an out-of-pocket expense. That's right right now what I want to be doing. And then taking the skill level that I have and sharing it with others as far as doing workshops with other people who want to learn the techniques of what I do, and then eventually opening a school that that
I
does this.
love it. I love it. Yes, yes. Pass it on. Pass it on.
Yeah,
Teach somebody else to do it. And I get passionate about that because that's legacy.
exactly.
That's how the work you do today continues
Keeps
to live
going on.
on and on after you're gone.
Exactly.
Um, so I've seen your work. Okay, y'all. Let me just be real. I have seen her work. It don't look like it ain't that person's hair, y'all. I'm serious. For real. I mean, just being completely transparent and honest. I came up in the generation of the 80s, 90s, when weave was being, I guess you could say, discovered
Discovered.
by the average person. And I know what it used to look like. I know I've watched the evolution, and to see her work and see how seamless it is, and then on top of that, not only just the quality of the work, but to see how confident the woman is once she's done.
That's my mission.
What's your tagline again? Because I love your tagline.
Rebuilding confidence, one hair unit at a time.
Love it. I love it. Having been a kid that consistently did not think she was attractive. In elementary school, I was kind of tall, skinny, and awkward, to say the least.
Say the least, right?
And to be in junior high school and, just really trying my best to fit in. I wanted my hair to look like everybody else's. I wanted to dress like everybody else. I wanted to talk like everybody else. And I became a chameleon. I kept changing myself to try and fit into what I felt I should be.
Exactly.
So I had false confidence because it came from outside of me. And you probably sitting there going, well, how can she instill confidence? It's hair. It's not theirs. It's not growing out of their scalp. But this is the thing. She provides a service that's a need for people who, for many years, probably didn't have a lot of options. So tell me about one of your clients that, the whole experience of working with them still kind of like hits you in a very special place. And
it's so
this
many.
is why I'm doing what I do.
It's so many. When I tell you so many, it's countless. I tell you the most recent one. This is probably about 2 weeks ago. A young lady came in to me, and it's another stylist that sent me this young lady because in what I do is kind of special. Well, it is specialized. It's no kind of to it. It's specialized. So it was a nurse. She worked here in Houston, and she told me, you know what? I have been wearing my nurse hat everywhere, every day. She said, if I can't wear my nurse hat, I can't go. That was her cover up. That was her cover up. She said she wouldn't go anywhere with her husband. She wouldn't take the cap off at night. It was just, I don't know if anybody could put themselves in those shoes just to say, this is something that I don't want the world to see. I don't want the world to know about. And it kind of stopped you from living. And that's why I'm passionate about rebuilding your confidence so you can walk in the room differently. So after she ended up getting service, and what a it was an amazing transformation. She just broke down crying, letting me know that this is what she did when she got out of the chair. She said, I'm about to call my husband. He about to take me to dinner. I said, well, baby, go to dinner. She said, I have not been out with my husband since I struggled with hair loss. And that's the one thing she had been wanting to do, was just to take the nurse hat off and go out to dinner with her husband. So it's small things that are big things that you end up helping somebody else out with. And like I said, it's amazing how your purpose always seems to surface, even if you try to bury it, because mine from birth was already in my face, but it all circled back, and now I'm giving into my purpose. So it makes it so much more worth it.
Okay. So in building your business, I know one major thing that we all have to do is find ways to keep ourselves motivated and encouraged when we hit some of those walls, hit those obstacles. So what do you do to keep your motivation and your inspiration going? What inspires you?
What inspires me? Stories like that inspire me. Definitely. It's when the gift, like I'm thinking I'm doing it for myself and it's for somebody else, that inspires me. That keeps me wanting to help somebody else. That's mainly what it would be, because it's hard days with entrepreneurship. You're like, you know what? This too much. This too much. This too much. So I've learned in recent time, I would say probably within the last 2 years, probably coming from Houston Urban League, when we went to Houston Urban League together, to delegate, to take those hats off and delegate it to somebody who specializes in that field, and then letting them train me after it's done, train me on how to run it from there. But putting on all the hats, and it's like going back to school and saying, hey, technology didn't change. I got to go learn this. So delegation was what helped me. When I tell you, I delegate, can you go pick my groceries up?
Girl, look, let me tell you something. I was using the pickup service at the grocery store, the delivery service at the grocery store long before the pandemic hit. Okay.
And see, I wasn't. I'm the one that will give time into all of that. And then when you learn delegating ups your time to be able to do what's important. So delegation, baby, when I say delegation. And if you can't afford it, because some services are out of pocket too high at first. So I say the small stuff you can delegate it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I'm at that point where on my vision board is the ability to be able to hire that person to come and clean my house and cook. Cause okay, just being real, I enjoy cooking. I enjoy the cooking process. I do. I just don't want to clean up afterwards. Once I'm done cooking, I'm tired. Okay. I don't want to do nothing else. And that's it. But then this is the thing. I don't want to cook every day. But you know, there are things you have to do. But being able to be in a position to be able to delegate that, so that instead of doing that, I'm either spending time with my family, or I'm able to take some time for myself.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. What do you do to take care of Takia?
Oh, child, I probably do it. I go overboard.
Ain't no such thing as go overboard. You're only supposed to give from your overflow. So the more overflow you have, the more you can give. Come on now.
So for me, being that I don't have anybody that does my hair, I do my own hair. I get my nails done. I'll go get me a pedicure. I'll keep my sometimes I'll go sit at the beach. Sometimes I'll take a bike ride. But I do find time to just sit still. And sitting still has centered me so long just to sit still and just let everything come to a center and then move instead of just moving. Because I did the moving for years. Don't get me wrong. But that's how I ended up in Houston Urban League. My body shut down, like literally shut down. So I learned to take care of the nucleus instead of keeping the nucleus going all the time.
Absolutely. And honey, trust me, I've hit that running nonstop wall many times.
Uh-huh.
And it, you know, and then find myself right back there because I wasn't paying attention. And now it's about being intentional.
And that's what a vision tree does. A business vision tree,
Mhm.
it lets everything you do be intentional. It's not any kind of surprise to it. It's like you already know the next move and you know why you're doing the next move.
Right. I love it. So for the women entrepreneurs listening, what advice would you give them? Let's say this is a young person or just a woman who just decided, hey, I'm about to take this plunge into being an entrepreneur. What advice would you provide?
First steps or just steps?
Just first steps. Just,
First steps
coming
would
into
be first steps would be a business vision tree because that gives you a roadmap. If you ever getting in the car, you want to know your landing destination, right? So that's what a vision business tree does. Even if you switch it up, even if you might take a right turn instead of the left turn, you at least know where you're going to. And so it takes a lot of the I'm just out here doing it. It takes all of that away. Because when you get to doing that, it's like you're not serving a purpose. You know, at Houston Urban League, we learned why we do stuff, and you learn your whys. Know your whys. Know why you're doing it. Because on them hard days, you're gonna have to come back and say, "Why am I doing this? Like this is too much."
Without a clear why, I would have been done a long time.
Exactly. So that to me is why you get up every day, why you gonna make the next move. Because if you don't do it, like I say, you just moving in vain. And
Yeah,
in vain will catch up with your little poor body.
absolutely. Because I'm that person that I don't like saying I'm grinding. I don't like saying I'm hustling.
I'm not that person.
I like saying I'm pursuing purpose. I like say I'm taking action consistently.
Exactly.
I don't even really like to say I'm working hard.
Exactly. I'm with you, Tracie. I am so with you. I am not a hustler. I am not a grinder. I am out here doing it for a purpose. And when you do things for purpose, it brings it back to timing, because time management gonna play a role in it big time. So you won't have time for just spinning your wheels. You won't. And that's what I call the people who just I'm grinding. Because when you're grinding, that's the wheels in motion all the time. My wheels are not in motion all the time. Not all the time, because I feel like you do burnout.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that is difficult for a lot of us because we do understand our why and we're passionate about it and we want to help as many people as we can and we just give and give and give and then it's like, hold on, this cup, wait,
Exactly. It ain't nothing else in
there's
there.
nothing else there.
There's nothing else in there.
Yeah. And so you have to do the things you necessary to consistently refill your cup.
Exactly.
And one of the things that I do, and I committed to doing this probably in 2019, is it was before the pandemic. I committed to 1 day a month, no technology.
Oh wow.
Now,
I haven't incorporated that. I have
and what I mean by
incorporated.
no technology is it means I'm not on my computer, on my email. I'm not doing any business work. I may be on my phone, but I'm calling people and I'm not calling about business. I am calling to catch up with people I haven't talked to. And it's truly about just reconnecting and taking that moment to connect with myself and connect with the people I love.
I got
And
you.
the first few months I did it, it was really, really hard because I kept feeling like I'm going to miss something.
And you'll be okay if you miss
right.
it. Promise you.
And so I started planning it. I would structure it. I said, okay, the last Sunday of every month, that's my month to complete shutdown. And so for the people who I talk to on a regular basis, they would know, hey, Sunday's my day. I'll talk to y'all on Monday. Put it in an email, put it in a text message, but I'm not responding. And the more I set that boundary, nobody calls on that Saturday, on that Sunday when I do that, unless it's someone who just happens to reach out that I hadn't talked to in a while.
I see.
And that makes it truly my time. So if I choose to pick up the phone and answer that call from that person, it's okay. But I don't feel obligated. And when I remove that obligation, I can relax.
You can.
And to really just look up and just have that space. I find that the week following, I'm more creative, I'm more productive. And I was like, oh, can I get to 2 Sundays a month? I'm complete shutdown. And ultimately that's what I want to get back to doing. And so often we don't do that. And so I love the fact that you said, oh, I think I go overboard. No, boo-boo. Take it out. Do it. My girl, Dr. Shana, talks about living a salsa life and giving from your overflow. She said, no, baby, keep pouring in that cup. Let it flow over into that salsa.
I like that. I like that.
That's what you give.
I like that.
So that's my commitment to myself. And also that's my commitment to my clients.
Oh, because you can come back and be full for them. So that's what I do too, in my own way. Mine is more balancing out work life and family life, family and friends, religion, just having a balance. Traveling, it's not just work. And even if it's part of work, it's incorporated in things that I enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap up our time with Takia, is there anything that's on your heart that you want to share before we wrap up?
For any entrepreneur, I would say definitely don't let fear hold you back from your greatness. Because I did that for a long time, not just fearing the unknown or fearing the greatness that you already have, that God already ordained in you, and just not letting that hold you back. And an entrepreneur, just know that you're going to be uncomfortable. So get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Absolutely. I love that. That's my thing, honey. Like that became an indicator for me that if I felt uncomfortable about this decision or about taking this step, then I knew I need to take the step. But if it felt easy and no, that's probably not what I need to do. I need to do the thing that makes me uncomfortable, because that's the challenge. That's the stretch that gets you outside of your comfort zone. And so,
and not to land on a religious, spiritual thing.
Oh, honey, that's fine. Bring it on.
My thing is my prayer is always, God, lay out the journey ahead of me, and anything that I'm doing, make it to where you walk ahead of me. That way I'm just walking in the path that you have for me. And it's easy. If you got a path that's laid out for you, you just follow the path. But if you're trying to create the path, it's a whole lot you got to get out the way. So that's always my prayer. Just, Lord, lay out the path you have me walk in. And then it's easier. If it's effortless, that's my confirmation that, Lord, this way I'm supposed to be.
That is so true, because that's where the provision is. The provision is on the path he laid out, not yours. Because what do they say? Man plans, God laughs.
Oh, right. And I had a whole bunch of laughs. He laughed at me all the time.
Girl, he was laughing at me last week. I had this whole plan for this thing I was gonna do. And God was sitting back going, yeah, right. Yeah. I was praying about it. Why this not happening? And I finally got quiet enough to hear him. He was like, I didn't tell you to do that.
That's the stillness that I'm talking about. That's
Yes.
the sit still. Just sit still. Let me hear you.
Yeah. So he was like, I didn't tell you to do that. I was like,
You showed
oh.
it.
He's
You
like,
showed it.
you decided, oh, this sounds like a good idea. And I was thinking, that sounds like the worst idea you ever had. So no. So yeah, absolutely. So Takia, I thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Take a moment real quick and let everybody know how they can connect with you.
I sure can. On Instagram is Sophisticated Images. On Facebook is Sophisticated Images or Takia Scott. And on my website is sophisticatedimages.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Takia. And thank you all for watching this story, because I'm going to call this a story. This wasn't just an interview. This was a story. She shared her story, her journey. And I hope you were able to glean at least one golden nugget from it to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. And as always, no matter what happens, just do it regardless. Zero excuses allowed. Take care, ladies, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.